Rain fell in heavy sheets that evening, drumming against the streets of downtown New York like a persistent warning. Inside a glass-walled coffee shop, Emma Caldwell, one of the city's youngest self-made billionaires, hunched over her laptop, eyes scanning numbers and charts with the intensity of someone carrying the weight of 1,000 lives on her shoulders. Her empire demanded perfection, but it had also demanded isolation. Few people truly knew her. Fewer still, she cared to know. She was about to leave when a sudden scream shattered the rhythm of the rain. Emma's heart lurched. She barely had time to react before a man lunged forward from the shadows, pulling her out of the way just as a car lost control, skidding across the wet street. The smell of burning rubber and wet asphalt filled her senses. She barely caught a glimpse of the stranger before he vanished into the crowd, his figure swallowed by the rain. Emma's mind raced. Who was he, and why had he risked his life for her? But the opportunity to ask vanished as quickly as it appeared. She never even caught his name. For days, she couldn't stop thinking about him. The boardroom meetings, press conferences, and investor calls seemed meaningless compared to the lingering question: who was this man, this stranger who had saved her without hesitation or expectation? Emma, who controlled billions of dollars and the lives of thousands, felt powerless for the first time. Meanwhile, across the city, the man who had saved her was driving home, his small sedan soaked, one hand on the wheel, the other brushing back his damp hair. His name was Luke Bennett, a single dad raising his 8-year-old daughter, Mia. He didn't consider himself a hero. He was just a father who couldn't stand by when he saw someone in danger. Life for Luke was never easy. After losing his wife to illness 5 years earlier, he had dedicated himself entirely to Mia. He worked double shifts at a local warehouse to keep a roof over their heads, to make sure she never went without, to ensure that she had a life full of opportunity and love, even if it meant his own dreams would remain just that, dreams. Heroes, in Luke's mind, weren't celebrated. They were the quiet people who carried others' burdens without expecting recognition. The next morning, Emma's security team tracked the street cameras and cross-referenced witness statements, trying desperately to find him. The trail was cold. No records, no fingerprints, no name. Just a wet jacket and the memory of a man who had disappeared like a ghost. Emma, frustrated and intrigued, decided to leave the investigation to her team but found herself haunted by a profound sense of gratitude and curiosity. Meanwhile, Luke was unaware of the ripple effect his small act of courage had set in motion. He woke Mia with pancakes, her sleepy smile a reminder of why he kept moving forward despite exhaustion and loneliness. As they sat together, the world outside their small apartment seemed distant, inconsequential, yet brimming with potential for small, unseen acts of kindness. Days later, Emma received a mysterious note at her office. The handwriting was unfamiliar, messy but deliberate. "Thank you. You don't know me, and you probably never will. Keep living, keep smiling. Someone cares." There was no signature. Emma stared at the paper, a strange warmth flooding her chest. Someone cared, truly cared, without expectation or ambition. She couldn't let it go. She pored over every missing person report, every act of kindness documented in the city, until finally, she found him, not through fame, not through wealth, but through community. Luke had volunteered at a shelter for families struggling with housing, teaching children to read in the evenings after long workdays. Emma watched from afar, a silent observer. She wanted to meet him, to thank him, but she hesitated. She realized something profound. This man's value wasn't in recognition or reward. His heroism was pure because it came without expectation. Curiosity, however, has a way of crossing the line between respect and intrusion. Emma approached him one evening at the shelter, offering a quiet, genuine smile. Luke looked up, startled, not expecting a billionaire to enter the humble classroom filled with children and donated books. "Hi," Emma said softly. I think you saved my life." Luke froze, unsure whether to laugh or back away. I didn't do anything special," he murmured, almost ashamed of the attention. "I just saw someone in danger. I did what anyone should do." Emma shook her head, eyes glistening. "No, it's not like that. You risked everything. And I wanted to thank you." Somehow, for the first time, Luke considered the possibility that his actions had consequences beyond his small world. But old habits die hard. "I'm just a dad," he said. "I have responsibilities, and I can't afford distractions. Life is complicated enough." Emma studied him, realizing that the strength behind his quiet words came not from wealth or power, but from love and selflessness. She saw how he carried the weight of a child's future, how every choice he made was deliberate, careful, grounded in humanity. It struck her harder than any boardroom deal ever could. Over time, Emma returned, not with offers of money or grand gestures, but with gestures of understanding. She volunteered alongside Luke at the shelter, helping with fundraisers and reading to children, learning about the world he navigated every day. She discovered that generosity doesn't always come with a check. Sometimes it comes in the form of patience, presence, and human connection. Then, one evening, a storm of a different kind hit Luke's life. The warehouse where he worked caught fire. Luke, always quick to act, helped guide colleagues out of harm's way but was trapped briefly inside, struggling with smoke and flames. Without hesitation, Emma arrived, her presence unexpected but decisive. Together, they emerged from the chaos, coughing and soot-streaked, hearts pounding. In that moment, Luke realized that human kindness, once sown, finds its way back, sometimes from the most unexpected sources. Emma, too, understood that her wealth and power could only take her so far. True courage and humanity thrived in hearts like Luke's. Months later, Luke and Mia found their lives subtly transformed. The shelter received much-needed donations, ensuring a safe haven for countless children. Emma had quietly funded scholarships for Mia and others like her, but never flaunted her generosity. The bond that grew between them was quiet but unbreakable, grounded in mutual respect, understanding, and shared experiences. One day, as the sun set over the city, painting the skyline with shades of gold and pink, Luke and Emma sat on a park bench, watching Mia play with other children. Neither spoke at first, just observing life in motion, both aware that acts of kindness, small and large, had the power to ripple far beyond their origin. Finally, Emma turned to him, her eyes soft with gratitude. "You saved more than my life that night," she said quietly. "You reminded me that humanity is worth believing in." Luke smiled, a rare, genuine smile, the kind that reached his eyes and lingered long after. "And you reminded me," he said, "that even in a world of struggle and hardship, good things can find their way to us. We just have to keep living, keep caring." The story of that rainy night became a quiet legend in their circle, not because of fame or fortune, but because it embodied something timeless. Courage is meaningful, not when it is recognized, but when it is offered selflessly. And love, in its simplest form, blooms in acts of kindness and hearts open enough to notice them. Emma and Luke never sought the spotlight. They didn't need headlines or accolades. Their story was etched in everyday moments, Mia's laughter, the warmth of shared smiles, the comfort of knowing that in a vast city, humanity still mattered. And as the city lights twinkled like distant stars that night, one truth remained clear: sometimes, saving a life doesn't require grandeur, it only requires a heart willing to act, and courage enough to vanish quietly, leaving the world a little brighter than it found it.